But anyway, that was another oh crap moment. Sorry, Lord.
There were several prior to
Yeah.
you left.
The money started coming in, though. He had taught a class, and so he got a check.
Rich.
And he says, "You're Davis." And I said, "What? What?" He said, "We got a check from the IRS for $1,000. Well, it was like $1,005. I'm like, "What?" It said something about we overpaid him. And I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, I'm not believing this. And so we had the money. God provided the money for us. And of course, I immediately got down on my knees and I was sobbing. Lord, I'm so sorry. Why was I doubting you? You've never left us without. But, this was kind of the last, we were down to the wire here. But I was gobsmacked. I was really sorry for what I had done. And then I was crying when Dusty came home with the check. We both got down on our knees. Well, him not so much because he had hip surgery, but we were just praising the Lord and thanking him for the money. So after we did our tithe, we actually had $600 for spending.
Talk to the people. And he doesn't go just to lead people in going to see all the holy sites that you want to see. Typically, if you're going to go with him, you're going to work too. And we did. But we found out that they were all under attack. Everybody was experiencing strange things in their life. She actually had a nightmare that turned out to be more than a nightmare. Now, since I had the cancer for the last 3 years, I've pretty much been sleeping in a recliner just because I couldn't sleep in bed. But prior to the time we left, I was still sleeping in a recliner. And she had a dream one night. There were 4 of us that could drive, but only 2 of us ever did. And it was
Second roundy round, and I thought, that's it. I don't even say anything to him. I just opened the door and I said, I gotta go. And I get out.
I looked, and we're stopped. We're between. And so there were a bunch of us out there taking pictures. This happened to be Julie's picture. She got a better reflection than I did, but it was absolutely stunning to see that.
Area that is about our day and what we were going to do. I felt I was supposed to about our day and what we were going to do. I felt I was supposed to share about Dusty. When you're supposed to share about Dusty. When you're supposed to share about something about the Lord, your heart starts pounding. Something about the Lord, your heart starts pounding. And so I stood up and I said, I feel like I excused myself and said, I feel I need to share this right now. After I shared, Esther, the mom, she burst into tears. She told me her daughter, Batya, and the Israeli meaning is daughter of God, had just told her the day before she was struggling with her belief in Jesus and if he was real or not. That she'd asked for a sign that he was real. She was at school and did our community work. What we did was we went to, it was a preschool, and people, they get money for the recycling.
Back up. She made it down. Coming back up, she slipped and broke her wrist. And, as a medic, I looked at it and said it's broken, and there was a nurse there from the United States, and she said, I don't think it's broken. For anybody that knows anything about flying a helicopter, particularly a military helicopter, you see the white caps on the water. He held that thing rock steady while they lowered a rescue diver into the water, and he took it down to about 10 or 15 feet above the water. He was actually pulling, you can see he's blowing water up out. He was actually pulling that moisture in through his jet engine and managed not to crash it in the water.
And it was really windy that day.
It was really windy, and a show just for us.
All the guys were super excited.
You can see the diver coming out now, heading for the water. When I took these pictures, we then had to drive a half mile to park the cars overnight in a parking lot, and paid about $40 or $45 a night to park there.
We were at the food shelf. We didn't know any of this was going on. And can you go to the next picture?
That one.
Yeah, that one. We didn't know any of this was going on. And, when we hear, they told us that there was rioting going on, and they told us the airport.
That's a sesame seed sweet, made from ground sesame seeds and sugar. But they had flavors. They had banana, they had chocolate chip, ground espresso beans. Pretty impressive just to walk through there. Now, we did discover a few things. Doesn't matter who you are when you go through there. They try and portray that there's this terrible hatred between the Arabs and the Jews in the city walls. There really isn't. For the best part, they get along very well because they need each other. And the only thing, the biggest difference was that when you went by an Israeli stall and you didn't buy something, they were content to let you go. If you went by and you sampled something that an Arab vendor handed you, they would follow you, trying to get you to buy, what's it gonna take, what's it gonna take? I walked by one and didn't even take what he handed me. And I said, yeah, I'm coming back this way later, maybe I'll stop. And he says, what do you want, mustache? What do you want? You know, the funny part was, on our first trip there in 2018, the vendors were not allowed to get on the buses and tell us something before we left Bethlehem, which is in Palestine. It's not in Israel. And I finally said, look, I'm tired of it. He kept climbing the stairs to hawk more wares. And I said, watch this. I got up and I walked to the thing. He said, what can I get for you? I said, I need a box of Cuban cigars. What? I need a box of Cuban cigars. He said, I can't get those for you, then stay off the bus. And he didn't come back in. But we did find out in Jerusalem, you could get Cuban cigars. I didn't get any. They were very expensive. But
Yeah.
come on. Move us forward, Jake. One of the things that they had done prior to the time we left, and obviously required a fair amount of pre-planning. He had some ministry tools that he's used in the past. And what you're looking at up there are coins. And essentially,